Hi everyone, welcome to the Bookworm Buzz. This vlog this morning is for a review on Wormwood by D.H.Nevins. I'll just quickly not show you the picture. No, I will. This is what it looks like. You'll have to forgive me holding it up on an angle, trying very hard not to get glare from the screen. I did get this just as an ebook, but you can get a print version of it, I think. I'm fairly certain you can. Okay, Wormwood, what is it about? Well, it is about the end of humanity. It is essentially the Last Judgment. It's a dystopian novel. It's obviously paranormal. It's full of Nephilim, which, if you're not aware, are half angel, half humans, and they're tools of God. It's got demons, forbidden love, heartbreak, death, plague, strong female leads, which I think is fantastic. It's got everything. Let me think. So I really loved this book. Really loved this book. I cannot tell you how much I loved this book. I started reading it, did the very naughty thing and did kind of judge a book by its cover and put it off for about a week, and picked it up and started reading it and couldn't put it down. I love the tortured, his duties weighing down on him heavily act that Tiamat, and I think that's how you say his name, has got going on. He's the Nephilim who is trying to deal with all these emotions that he's never felt before, and he's trying to handle the acts he has to carry out in the name of his God. You've got Carly, who is the essential human lead. She is this strong female who has somehow managed to survive the first phase and is trying to make it through the second phase of the final judgment. She has all of these tools available to her. She can hunt using a bow. She can ride horseback. She can track through the woods to a degree. She knows the terrain. And the best thing I love about Carly is the fact that these aren't things that she's had to quickly learn how to do and miraculously quickly learns how to do them. Post-apocalyptic, these are things that she used to do before the world, before humanity went by the wayside. She used to go camping and hiking with her dad. They used to go, her dad had just recently bought a brand new bow. They used to go hunting with it. She used to be a guide through the state forest. These are hobbies that she used to have that have now become relevant to her. And I really like that. I love when a character, not even a female character, but any character, suddenly has to put to use all these things that they already know. They're not being forced to learn all these new things and become this really strong character with the weight on their world, with the weight of the world on their shoulders, simply because of what's happened. You know, I like a strong character who's strong and knows these things because they do, not because the situation has called for it. I liked Tiamat. I love that he is the protagonist, but he's also an antagonist. There's a lovely duality to him that you'll come across in the book. And there are times where I didn't know whether I myself wanted to smack him down or just give him a big hug because he's sad. I liked the torture that he had on himself, and the fact that Carly, just mere human, was able to offer this almighty being advice. You know, that it sort of resonated, not to me personally, but it resonated to throughout the book, that even if you were a higher being and you were powerful, you didn't necessarily have all the answers. You didn't necessarily always do the right thing. You know, you've got Tiamat who's following orders blindly, who knows he has to do this, and he's questioning this. And this is great. I love this message in the book. You don't necessarily have to have to follow every order blindly. Not every order you're given is correct, and you can question this. Just because you're powerful and you've been around a long time doesn't mean that the answers that you give someone are right. And this is great. I love this in this. There's some great moral lessons in this book. I liked Richard, and you will come across Richard about halfway through the book. Look, to be honest, he's an antagonist. But I like Richard. He's a great balance to Tiamat. I think he's fantastic at what he does. I would really hope we get to see more of him in the second book, which I have not started yet, but it will not be far away. I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that even the minor characters in this book played an important part. You've got characters such as Randy, Nellie, Hannah, Maurice, Tony. These guys aren't in this book for very long, a few chapters, but they play important parts, and important's going to be my favourite word this vlog, but it's true. Danielle has written a book where even the most minor of characters are essential. They're necessary. Even the guys at the very beginning of the book in the flashback, who you never see again after the flashback, play a part. They're not just fluff. These people aren't fillers. They provide, I'm going to use the word essential again, an essential service to Danielle's plot. Let me think, what else have we got? You've got Meridak, who I think that's, again, I struggled a little bit with the angels' names, and that's got nothing to do with Danielle. I think that is just the fact that either A, they're biblical, and I don't have, yeah, anyway, they're different, and yeah. You have Meridak. I got a bit off topic. You've got Meridak, who he brings about a change, which is great. You know, you need change in the book, but he changes the dynamics of how the angels work. You've got Nathaniel, who's this angel, or Nephilim, they're all Nephilim. If I say angel, I mean Nephilim. Who's this Nephilim who works with Tiamat, who then, while you don't really see him in the first half of the book, becomes rather prevalent towards the end of it. And I get the feeling that he's going to be really prevalent in the second book. Grammatically and plot-wise, it flowed beautifully. Even the little side notes, the flashbacks, they worked seamlessly in together. There were plot twists within plot twists that worked. Danielle just put together a really wonderful story. And even better, I like that she hasn't just gone, you know what, let's write a book about Nephilim and let's just make all this up. If you're familiar with it, and I did actually have to Google this, bless Google, Wormwood is actually a term, a part of the New Testament. And let me just, I'm just going to look a bit odd, but let me just read this to you. I found Wormwood is in the book of Revelations. It's mentioned once, by the way. And the quote is, "The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and the springs of water." You will find that this is actually really important in the book. This is quite prevalent, and again, kudos to Danielle. It was really well put in. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become bitter. Revelations 8:10 through 11. I love that Danielle has found just, and I don't know whether she searched for it or whether these are her religious views. That to me has no bearing on the book. But I love that she's taken this small bit of text and built on it. This is fantastic. And it's hidden. You would not know. I simply was looking to see whether the Bible and the final judgment actually had resonance within this. And look, to be honest, I needed to see where Wormwood had come from, because it's made mention. Carly in the book seems to know that she's heard the term Wormwood before, but can't figure out where. And I just had to look it up for myself. I can't say enough about this. Grammatically, like I said, it was great. I'm sure there are some very smart cookies out there who are going to read the book and go, well, that's not quite right. And this could be phrased differently. But I was so caught up in the book, I didn't find anything. I didn't find any punctuation errors. I didn't find any spelling mistakes. Obviously, with the biblical names, I'm not a religious historian, and I don't know the Bible in and out, so I'm not necessarily going to know if she spelled any of those names incorrectly. Go and get it. Read it. It's brilliant. I do really recommend it. Visit D.H.Nevins' website, Danielle's website. You can visit it at www.dhnevins.com. She has not asked me to put this out there, but I feel that if a work is truly deserving of it, you need to send people there. Also, she's an indie author. She's just a little independent author who is writing fantastic work, and I love the indie authors. Let's face it, we all read New York Times bestsellers. We all read Amazon bestsellers. Look at the bookcase behind me. It's full of these authors. But I really love the little underdog too, who's trying to self-publish or publish through a small independent publishing house. And isn't going to get the might of the big publishing houses behind them to get this out there, to get their work sold, but they still carry on and get it out there and publish themselves. So give it a whirl. Support an indie author and do it. Just do it. Honestly. Grab yourself a copy of Wormwood. You can find the website for Danielle's, the web address for Danielle's website underneath this video. There will also be a link to take you through to her book so that you can pay the whole, I think it's $1.40 at the moment on Amazon. It's not much, guys. $1.40. I've paid anywhere up to $80 for a book. $1.40 is nothing, and it's so worth the read. Okay, I'll stop fangirling. I hope to see you next time. Have fun. Happy reading.